Hello everybody, welcome back. We're going to look at XRP again on a much bigger time frame, and we're going to try and spin it in some kind of bullish light, okay? And look, just for the record, I have loads of XRP, love it. It's a massive hodl, has been for ages. It was the first thing I ever managed to get close to 100x on in my life, back in 2017. So there's a place in my heart for it. It did me a lot of favors. Bought around 3 cents, sold around 2.80, which people forget. It actually was trading at pennies, and prior to that, fractions of pennies. So for it to hold this current value shows that it's not one of those altcoins which does go down only and forever. There is something in it, right? And also, it's a very old coin, which is good, that I like, because you can look back and see how it's behaved in the past. So first, we're going to look at it in the form of these formations, right? So 2014. Bang up, massive consolidation. Took a very long time from the peak to the bottom. It's around 1,246 days before it found its low from the peak. That's a long time. Massive correction. Let's measure the next one down, so all the way down from the peak to the, well, I suppose the bottom of the breakout. About 1,100 days. Not bad, still a very long time. And currently we're doing the same sort of thing, aren't we? So where are we at right now? We've peaked over here. We're currently in between the two, really. So around 1,176 days. So when it comes to time, it should be breaking out at some point quite soon. Really, I'd say within the next couple of months we should see a breakout from it. Now, we're edging down towards the bottom of this uptrend of support, similar to this. And again, they're messy. I mean, that was certainly not support. Neither is this, really. But it exists, all right? It exists. So what we're looking at is getting closer to the end of an apex. Normally, I don't like anything getting towards the end of an apex. I always feel like it results in a fake out, really. And you could probably even say that maybe that's what's happened here. I know this looks like a big breakout, but it does move up and consolidate massively. So perhaps this is the exception to the rule. That the apex is what XRP likes. We are looking at this on a weekly, by the way. So another thing I was going to think about looking at for you, or just explaining to you, is that there are certain differences between XRP now and then when it comes to momentum, and momentum counts for a lot. So we're just going to be looking at this. So on this, obviously there's nothing here. It's a monthly, you don't really get any reads on the monthly. And then it shot straight up, massively overheated on the monthly money flow index, and peaked with bearish divergence as well. So that's usually the sort of read that you'd look to get out of anything. At the time, I wasn't looking at any of this. It was my first major introduction to altcoins, really, so I just took the money and ran. I didn't really apply any TA to it. I just basically thought, well, that'll do for me. Since then, obviously, the chart has developed over a number of years, and what we saw this time was bullish divergence on the monthly RSI and the money flow index, which led to this break, which moved from here to here. Now, this is different altogether. This was being tampered with. We had the SEC that were involved. We had the pump group, which was involved, and it caused a lot of mess on the chart, which I think we're still recovering from, really. If you start to tamper with any kind of chart, whether you're bullish on it, and start saying, oh, this, that, and the other, and it pumps on something, or bearish, and you say, oh, it's wrecked because of X, Y, and Z, and it dumps on something, it can basically destroy the rhythm of the chart, and I think that's what happened here, which is why we didn't make a new all-time high. It had been taken off certain exchanges. The SEC were basically having a right go at it, weren't they? And as a result, it kind of never made a new all-time high. However, it did a decent attempt, considering that the SEC were on its back, and places like Coinbase and many other exchanges weren't selling it because they were adhering to the SEC's concerns, or at least they were afraid of it. Now all of that's back in, right? So more or less, SEC have given up now on XRP. And all exchanges are selling it, but the price remains basically the same. So if we're looking at this on a log scale, by the way, because it's such a long, drawn-out, highly volatile chart. Remember, it was trading at fractions of a cent. It peaked up here at $3.50. So remember that. Just remember that when you want to slug it off. I can understand why some people don't like it, because it doesn't move massively ever anymore, but I believe it will. So if we were thinking about this in terms of the log scale and the support on the log scale and in the form of this formation, wicks are relatively neat. We've had 3 major wicks here, and we're looking at this on a monthly, by the way. And if we were to zoom right in and think where would the next wick be, because this is uptrending support, we're talking like mid to low 40s, around 44 cents over this month, 45 cents next month, and with every month that goes by, the support should be 1 cent higher. And of course, the resistance roughly 1 cent lower. So, we are approaching this sort of breakout period, and if we got right to the very end of the apex, we are talking the beginning of next year. So, and look, my expectations of the market, I've explained this many, many times. If you've not watched it, now I've got a whole video on it, but it's as simple as looking at the total 2. And the total 2 says this. This is our total 2 on the monthly. And this is a fractal of the last bear market and the last bull market, and it's obviously just to point out that yes, there is rhythm here. We go down, we both go down, we go up. This is the bear market. Go down, we bounce up, we go down, we go up. You can see that there is some correlation here to at least the timing of the moves. And I've been saying that I think there's a consolidation coming this summer. Clearly, we're seeing it. Started obviously when we peaked around March. I've been selling from December all the way through to around April, and now I'm buying back. And this is the fractal, and again, it's not perfect, but this is the general vibe that we'll be looking at now. We're sort of still consolidating. I would say that consolidation began over here, so the fractal doesn't match, but roughly we're looking to continue a consolidation within an area, and I would imagine I'm quite dramatic, to be honest with you, about this, that this is our major chance to buy throughout the summer. Look, if a black swan happens, no big deal, you buy that black swan. I am incrementally buying into crypto altcoins basically around this period. I've got more than enough Bitcoin. I don't need any more Bitcoin. I wouldn't want to buy Bitcoin at this price. I've got plenty of it that I bought down in the 20s and loads that I bought around 4,000 in the previous cycle. I still have lots of all that. So I don't want any more Bitcoins. I'm more interested in what's going to happen with altcoins. So that is my general vibe for the total 2, and it goes to shoot straight back up again and continue on to a new all-time high on the total 2, somewhere between now and September 2025. So let's have a look on the shorter term time frames, because we don't really have the same sort of reads. No bullish divergence on the higher term time frames for XRP. So we should still probably imagine that we're going to meander around the 40 cent zone really. So remember, the 44, 45 over the next few months should be scraping out a low, and if we break down from there, it will actually get pretty nasty, because the formation at that point now would be a breakdown rather than a breakout, and you'd be looking to actually see XRP probably come back down to the 30s really, the lower 30s, mid to lower 30s. And again, if you see that, and if you want to apply some dollar cost averaging, or just get yourself a position in XRP, that ought to be the low really. But at the moment, the formation still holds, and we're in this sideways accumulation period for altcoins, getting ready for the breakout, which should take place towards the end of this year and then continue through, generally speaking, into September next year. As between now and September next year is a long period of time, so you're going to probably see another peak and another consolidation before another peak. So what we're seeing now is probably the opportunity to pick altcoins up at significant lows or reasonable lows compared to where they're likely to be in September next year. But it doesn't mean that you can't see them hit these lows, go to a massive peak, and then consolidate maybe by 50, 60, 70% again, still forming a higher low. But just remember that. So just remember that. You've got to be in it for the volatility. You've got to expect that. So I'm looking to position myself across the board for lots of altcoins. Now, like I say, I've already got tons of XRP. I don't need to buy any more. But if I didn't have any, I would be thinking realistically that this is an okay area. This is an acceptable area. It's not a major support, but based on what we just looked at, 44, 45, it's not much different to 48 to 49. When the grand scheme of things, you can make a measured move, and this is what we're going to do now. I'm going to blow you away with a measured move. And again, the measured move means nothing really, it's just anecdotal, but you would see this on a formation, and this is the sort of thing you'd do to give a rough, educated guess as to where it's likely to go. So you measure the mouth of the formation, you look at the breakouts. Let's just say we broke out right at the end of the apex, because we do and have done that quite close to, so we're being conservative by saying we'll launch from the breakout area. It takes us beyond the all-time high to around about $4.63. That's where the measured move takes us. Now, if we were to look at these in the past, and again, these are on log scale, they're not going to give you a perfect thing. That doesn't match. But if you were to, let's just say, okay, let's play the measured move itself. Okay, the measured move gave us a close to 20,000 close to 20,000% move. We don't have a mouth on this one actually, so we'll just measure it to the floor, which is around about here. And we'll just mark that off here, and that more or less did work out really. It's not too far away from where the high was. So this one surpassed, this one underperformed. We'll give a rough area of around about $4.50 for where we are looking to see a breakout take place. I think it's reasonable to expect that. I don't really see too much of an issue with having that measured move given the two things that we've looked at. But the main thing to take away from this is that we did have hidden bullish divergence on the RSI. We did have regular bullish divergence on the money flow index that led to a big move over here. We don't really have that. If anything, what we've got is an overheated money flow index at these low levels. So just in standard XRP fashion, if it does shoot up into these areas, it's very likely to give it all back once again. So yeah, that's what we'll be looking at. So I just thought I'd put it to you, another XRP video, a bit of hopium, a bit of reality, but it's still quite tasty. It's just roughly, we're talking a 10x, aren't we? 1,000%. And I know that that's nothing to most people. Oh, 1,000%. Oh, don't bore me with 1,000%. No, thank you. Well, if that's a genuine issue for you in life, then wow, you've got that's what we call a first world problem, isn't it? Right, thanks for watching. I hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.